Hello, my love. I am excited to be having a conversation with Christina, not Christina. Do not get confused. She's a bit fancier than your standard Christina. Christina
Never am.
McLoughlin from Ireland. And Christina is a female empowerment coach. And just very excited to have this convo today. We have met through online membership that we are both part of, which is also about female empowerment. And we're going to be doing a little bit of collaborative things together this year. But Christina, say hello. Let us know a little bit about you, what you do, who you are.
Yeah. Hi, everyone. Hi. So thank you for having me, Susie. I'm really excited. I'm going to say, I hope you can put subtitles on this because I do have that big old thick accent. So if you can't figure me out, I apologize in advance. So I am
between the Scottish and the Irish. It's all good. It's all
we've
good.
We've got it well covered, don't we? So I am the singles woman's coach. I work with women, particularly single women, to help them fully accept themselves, regardless of the relationship status. So for a lot of women, there is a feeling of failure when we get to 30s, mid 30s to 40s, and we haven't found that one fulfilling relationship. And so I'm kind of saying the opposite. Fulfill yourself first, and then the rest will come it'll come like magic one day. But yeah, that's me in a tiny little nutshell. I am over here in Ireland, and yeah, it's great.
I know that that's something that I struggled with. I'm laughing because it's quite interesting. If you're watching this on YouTube, you can actually see my wedding picture in the background behind my head because I'm recording this in my bedroom today. But I know for me as a single female, I really struggled with that wanting to be accepted, to find that perfect guy. I went out with a whole load of assholes. I went out with a lot of really nice guys as well. But just constantly searching for that validation to the point of suffering from anxiety and depression. So I absolutely can see why there's such a need for your work in supporting people, because I had in my head, you've got to be married by the time you're 30 and settled down, or you're on the shelf.
We are conditioned to believe it, like conditioned from a very, very young age to believe that we need to be married and settle down by our 30s. And like if you even hear what a 16-year-old says, like how their life is going to go, they're going to be like, going to go to college, then I'm going to get married when I'm 25, I'm going to have 3 kids by the time I'm 28, and by 30, job's done. I'm like, hold on a second.
Yeah.
That's not actually how it works. Firstly, you need to go to college and get a lot of drink into you and have a lot of fun. And then secondly, you have to have a couple of failed relationships and really let things mess up. And then you need to find yourself and become who you really want to be. And then you can do the rest. Like, don't put all the pressure on getting it all done and dusted by 25, because it is pressure. But look at the stories that we heard as kids. Look at the way our parents met. We're bred to believe that this is the way it needs to be. And when you don't stick to the routine and you don't get married by 30, there's something wrong with you.
Yeah.
And that's not the case.
Yeah. I love that. And I think I know from the clients that I work with, single women as well, that a lot of them will come either, lacking confidence and self-worth and all those things. But as you say, once you develop that self-love, it sounds like a cliche. I have one client who hates when I use the word self-love. She's like, I just don't like it, but now she's like, okay, I get it. I absolutely get it. It is essential to, be comfortable with yourself before you start, seeing other people and doing those things if you want them to be successful, I guess.
Yeah, totally. It really depends on what you're looking for. If you're looking for someone to fill the void now and you're like, right, I just want to smash out a couple of kids with someone and I don't care if it's long term. If we manage to get to the next 5 years, fine, whatever. I'm not going to lose sleep if we get divorced in 6 years' time. Then you go right ahead and take any old person off Tinder and you'll be somewhat satisfied. But if you're looking for a really fulfilling relationship, like a really heartfelt full relationship where you feel fully supported, that you can go in and be yourself. You can wear your stinky Sherpa fleece for 6 days straight and they'll still love you. Then you have to work on yourself first. It all comes from the inside. And if you're into law of attraction, everybody is a version of you pushed out, right? So if you don't have all of that love for yourself, you probably don't really have the love to give to anyone else. And you probably don't have the ability to receive that love either.
Mm-hmm.
So it all starts on the inside and
Yeah.
bubbles up. I remember hating that word self-love so much years ago and being like,
That's bullshit. It's bullshit. Yeah.
Oh, here we go again. Someone else saying you gotta love yourself. But actually, yeah, you have to love yourself.
Yeah. It's the basis of so much of, the work that I do as well. So from the job that you're doing now, how did this role evolve? And because I know that you are also a yoga teacher and you do other things. So how did this come to fruition? What's your background?
Yeah, so it came from like a multitude of things. So I'll go with my background first. So I worked in corporate for like 15 years in different things, from sales to marketing to tender management, all that kind of stuff, like very corporate-y things, suited and booted all day long. And I was miserable. And then at some stage I decided I'd give the old yoga a go and see if I could stick with it and make it a habit and make it a hobby that I could enjoy. And I didn't for ages. I hated it. But then eventually I got talked into doing teacher training and I loved it. And then I said I would never teach a class. And then I started teaching classes and then somehow got roped into doing yoga therapy and did a course in yoga therapy. And so suddenly I was more of a supportive person in my yoga community. So I was taking time to sit down with women and work through what was going on with them. So more of a coaching sort of role in their lives. And sometimes it was not that simple. It might have been a domestic violence situation. So it's helping them get the right support, or something that they need counseling, getting them to the right counselor. And sometimes it's simple as not loving themselves, feeling like they're not enough, not knowing their self-worth, not knowing where to begin to develop their self-worth. And that's kind of what really got me into it. But it was through my own life experiences that really pushed me into the direction of working with single women and female empowerment, and really sort of tapping into what it is within us that leads us to have the experiences that we're having that are undesirable and can help us get to what we actually truly desire.
Wow, quite the journey.
Like all journeys, a couple of roundabouts.
I think, like being in classes like yoga, meditation, those things, there is that sense of community. And I think a lot of people fail to realize the things that come up as you do these practices. I know from my experience with meditation that, a lot of people will cry or emotional things will come up for them. And I remember when my sister started yoga, she's like, I was so bad, I just cried in a yoga class. I was like, I do that all the time. It's so normal. So yeah, I can understand why it would, then lead to a more coaching style as well.
And it's funny, like I've been teaching yoga 10 years now, and there's probably people do cry, of all ages, of all genders, of all whateverness, and they do cry. People do cry. And when you think about, like, we hold so much energy in our body, like we don't process out what's going on. And I myself went through a horrendous separation, which is what got me back to Ireland from Australia. And I remember holding on to all that stress and anxiety and hurt, and really living in that, but living on it in my own body, and couldn't figure out why. I was like, oh, my shoulders hurt again, and I've hurt my ribs again, and I've hurt my hips, and I've got like plantar stuff going on with my feet. And you're kind of going, well, at some point you have to look at what else is impacting it, and it's not all jumping up against the wall to do a handstand. Some of it is actually what we're thinking and believing that's just living in our bodies.
Yeah, and I think yoga allows you to drop into that quieter space, doesn't it, to
Yeah,
enable those things to come to the surface, to be released and processed. And um,
totally.
yeah, amazing. So, from your experience of working with women as a coach and through the yoga, like, what is there, like, I asked this last week with Susan that I was interviewing, but is there something that comes up? Is there something that you find that most women typically struggle with? Is there an area that appears again and again?
I'm gonna say yes. There's like probably two big areas that always come up.
Mhm.
One area that comes up with absolutely everyone, because I also work with men
Yeah.
and non-binary. Something that comes up with everyone is not being able to let go, not being able
Mhm.
to like move on, or constantly living in the past, or the what if, or if only, or if I had done this, this wouldn't have happened. If I had worn sexy lingerie more, he wouldn't have cheated. Like we live in that stuck, I'm stuck
Mhm.
here in this one thing and I can't get out of it. And we don't realize that all of that impacts all areas of our life. The
Yeah.
stuff that we're holding on to, it impacts not just our relationships with people, our relationship with money is impacted, our relationship in a community is impacted. We're just letting it pour out everywhere. So that is the main thing that comes up with literally everyone.
Yeah.
And the other thing with women that comes up all the time is how much they've lost their self-worth in their 20s
Mhm.
and 30s, for those of them that I'm working in their 30s, that they've lost their self-worth. They've left it in a suitcase somewhere on some train station and they don't know how to get it back.
Mhm.
So a lot of the work I do is around the letting go and then the rebuilding. Like, what is it that you want to feel about yourself? Who is it that you want to be? How are you self-soothing so that you can be that person? And yeah, and letting it go, letting all that other shit go.
Yeah, absolutely. It is incredible the things that we hang on to and often don't realize that we have hung on to. I was for a therapy session last week and something came up from like 6 years ago and I was howling and crying. I was like, wow, I was not expecting, that one incident. I haven't even really, consciously been thinking about it, but obviously it was it was there within the body.
Yeah, it is. It's there. And I think well, if we could take it back to the yoga studio, for people with really tight hips, your hips are an emotional storehouse. Think
Mhm.
of it as a really huge warehouse full of cardboard boxes of things that have happened to you and emotions that you've attached to them. So often when people go, oh, I've really tight hips and I've got this one hip that's always causing me problems, and you're kind of going, okay. And then you see them in a yoga room, you go, I just want you to listen to what that hip pain is saying to you. I
Mhm.
want you to actually hear the words that go with it, because it's going to tell you the story. It's going to say that one time that someone threw your brand new runners on the roof of a house, which did happen to me, and it's still upsetting you. You're still upset over it, even though you got your runners back. You felt,
Yeah.
bullied, or you felt hurt. And then you're like, oh, I get it. I'm going to let that go. It's
Mhm.
the ability to just go, okay, I'm going to let that go now.
Mhm.
That one has to push it out.
Yeah. Wow. I've got a lot of boxes to shift.
That's okay. I have a forklift. I'll help you.
Yeah, often it is. It's my hips for me, definitely around that kind of psoas area for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love a bit of yin and a cry.
Yin is great for that big cry. I love teaching restorative yoga for people who are like not able to meditate or not able to settle down. If you can get them to lie down on a bunch of pillows and tuck them into blankets, you'll hear the cries coming up, because it's just like, oh, I can rest and I can hear what's going on. And you are never too old to be tucked in.
Yeah, I just discovered restorative yoga recently actually. It was a women's workshop. It was a menopausal workshop. And yeah, we did some restorative and yin and stuff together, and it was really, really supportive for sure.
Oh, it's
Um,
so nurturing.
yeah, I think it's just giving you that sense of safety, isn't it, as well?
Yeah, space. It's just giving you space. I
Mhm.
think we forget that we're supposed to take time off, like without the TV on, without the phone on. We're supposed to find time to just do nothing, literally nothing, like hold your cup of tea, stare out the window, nothing.
Yeah.
And we don't do that. We don't give ourselves the permission to just turn it off, go inward, see what's going on. Sure, we meditate. And a lot of people go, oh, it's okay, I meditate every day. And I'm like, sometimes meditation is also not stopping. It's, there's something going on there. You're focusing on the something that's going on, whether it's your breath, the noise, the sensation, or it's an active meditation. You're better off just taking your cup of tea and watching the steam for 5 minutes, if it's that steamy.
Yeah.
However long it's
super hot cuppa.
That's a seriously hot cup of tea.
Yeah, definitely. Amazing. So I had a little read of an article you had written on Thrive Global about building confidence. And I was just going to share something that you say there, that one of the easiest ways to have lasting confidence is to start praising yourself. The reality is your confidence is entirely reliant on what you believe about yourself. In other words, true confidence comes from within. So I know that so many of viewers, listeners, my community, myself, confidence is something that we have struggled with, and it continues to come up. And I just wondered if you had any tips for helping boost confidence.
I have like a process for boosting confidence, because a lot of people go, oh, well, she's a very confident person, but I'm not confident. So we already attribute the fact that we're not something to us as quickly as we can. I actually like to change confidence, not to be a characteristic or a quality, but to let it be a habit. Let confidence be a habit. Who says that you are born with it? You grow it. Like, it's like a seed that you put in the ground. So I have a couple of things that I do that are really nice ways of growing confidence. And my favorite is my drinking game, which is totally up to you. Yeah, get your cup of tea. I drink a lot of tea and a lot of coffee. If you don't drink a lot of tea or coffee, you can always do it with water. Obviously, I like to stay hydrated.
I thought this was going to be some kind of like Irish alcohol related theme here.
Sorry, can I start? Get your whiskey, get your bottle of gin, whatever you're into. Honestly, you can do this with whatever it is that you're into yourself. But we're so busy giving praise to everyone else that we never praise ourselves. And when we praise Susi 100 times, but we forget to praise our own self, then we're saying that Susi is more confident and worthy of our praise than I am. So change the narrative and start to praise yourself. Every time you make a cup of tea, every time you have a coffee, every time you take a drink of water, you praise yourself. It's like one thing, two things, whatever you're into yourself. And it's like, it can be as simple as, God, you managed to put on your lipstick symmetrical today. Oh, did you paint your nail?
I love that.
Great. Oh, I put on clean socks. Great. Like, it doesn't have to be it doesn't have to be something huge, like, oh, I closed the project, I got a new deal at work, or I had a 10K month in my business, or it doesn't have to be huge. The smaller the things you praise yourself for, the better. Like, go small, go really granular, get into that. Like, I bought new pens for myself yesterday. I was like, oh, I'm so fancy. I can't believe I just bought myself new pens, and they're really sleek and cool looking. And I was all like, wow, this is great. And when I had my cup of tea, I was really like, God, I love my new pen. I'm so fancy. It doesn't have to be complicated. It doesn't have to be that you paid another month of rent or that you got to the gym. It can be something so basic, but the more you praise yourself, the better. That is my top habit. And actually, that's the one I get all of my clients to start doing, like, straight away. Like, praise yourself all day, every day, because if you don't cheer yourself on, there's no one else in the background that's going to do it for you. And if you're a business owner, you should invest in a wins jar where you put one win from the day in every single day, a new one for every year. and let those wins stack up. And that'll give you confidence in your business, in
Yeah.
yourself, in what you're doing daily. And it can be as simple as I turned on my laptop.
Mm-hmm.
Some days we don't feel like turning on our laptop. Or sometimes it's like that I had a shower because I'm
Yeah.
having a bad week and I really didn't want to have a shower. Pick the things that mean something to you that are a win and praise yourself for them. There's other things that you can do to build your confidence. Obviously, you can do affirmations, and affirmations work and they're great. It's how you feel about affirmations that make the difference. So
Yeah.
some people will go, I am confident. And because of their design, they'll just decide, I am confident.
Mm-hmm.
For people like me, that's not part of my design. A different wording like I think I am confident, or I can try to be confident works. And then for someone else, it could be I am willing to be confident, or I am choosing to believe that I could be confident. So choose a way of putting it that makes you feel good. There's other little things that you can do is like find out where you feel the least confident.
Yeah.
We all have that one thing, right? That we're like, oh, I don't want to do it. It makes me feel like, oh, like I should hide under my desk. But like get into your power poses. Like, Amy Cuddy gave us a gift. It's like, be Wonder Woman, be like really into yourself. Like get the hands up in the air, give yourself that big open stretch, get the hands on the hips, stand up really tall, boobs out, shoulders back. Be in your power because we're all powerful beings.
Yeah.
There's no rule anywhere that says I'm more confident than you or you're more powerful than me. We're equal in all ways. So it's just owning that.
Incredible.
That was a
Yay. So many nuggets there. So many nuggets. That's so fascinating because for me, I feel like confidence is like, as you say, it's something that can be built and that you can grow. And also to bear in mind, like for me, I think confidence is getting like in my head is like getting really good at something. So you might not be confident in something initially because you just haven't done it. It's not your thing. But with practice, it just gets easier and easier, like connecting with random strangers in Ireland across the World Wide Web.
Okay.
A few years ago, I would be like, oh my gosh, I can't like connect with her and go on a call and chat with her. Whereas now I'm like, oh my gosh, you feel like you've got new best friends all over the world because you're just like doing it more frequently.
I mean, I've always said I'm the most scariest person in the world. So, I mean, I'm really kidding. But yeah, confidence it's like, if you think about it, you're just stacking the blocks every day. If you literally praise yourself with your morning cup of tea or coffee and your last cup of tea and coffee every single day, by the end of the year, you'll have grown your confidence significantly. Like if you think of every day as a 1% improvement, by the end of the year, that improvement will have compounded 37 times over. Yeah. That's a lot more confidence. Like that's a game changer for a lot of us. And it spills out.
Yeah. Amazing. Wow. Yeah. So lots to think about there. Now I know you're going to be sharing a masterclass within the Spirit and Soul membership, lucky members. Which is going to go live in February, but you will have access to that from the 1st of, no, not from the 1st of February, because you're going to be doing it live.
I am
having a live session. And that's about forgiveness and energy release. And I just wondered if you could tell me, I'm really excited by this process. I know that it is going to bring up a lot for a lot of people. It's not easy work, but is hugely transformative. I just wondered if you could tell me a bit more about why, forgiveness, and we've touched a little bit on the energy release already, but why is that so important and necessary?
It's like I spent a lot of time practicing forgiveness and it completely changed my own life. A lot of us, all of us, every adult that you see goes around with stuff, with baggage, with the luggage of life, still living in it, still carrying the past hurt of their childhood, their adolescence, their failed relationships in their 20s and 30s and even beyond. And they're not letting it go. Like when we think of forgiveness, And for a lot of people, when they think of forgiveness, it's like going into the confessional and saying, please forgive me for my sins, and then you're given whatever you're given and you're like, okay, I've done it now. But that's not forgiveness. That's literally just hoping that it's going to work. All forgiveness is self-forgiveness. And when we can start to look at the experiences that we've had and offer a way out of them, a release of the tether to them, then you're going to create more space for something better. Women, I'm going to just go with my own experience. Women who've been cheated on, who don't give forgiveness for the situation itself, carry the mistrust and betrayal into the next relationship. And that's exactly what I did. I was 29 in a very serious relationship, had seen the rings, had seen his wedding band, was very excited until I saw the messages. And then I stopped being so excited. And I went into the next relationship with all of that betrayal, that mistrust, that like, oh, well, I need to see his phone and I need to check his messages. And that's what we do. We carry all of that pain and that hurt on to the next situation, that next experience, that next job, that next house, that next opportunity, and we sabotage it. When you forgive, you're saying, all right, what you did wasn't okay. I'm not saying you can do that to other people. I'm just saying, I'm letting it go. I'm not carrying it. I'm going to take that box out of my warehouse. I'm going to sellotape it up. I'm going to send it back to you. I'm going to give it to where it belongs. And then you release it. You let that out. It's gone from your energy. And then you attract in something better.
Yeah,
that is the crux. But there's so many different ways to forgive depending on how you work, what's you're into yourself. And I'm going to cover off a few of them in our masterclass anyways. But, depending on whether it's yourself that you need to forgive, like you've done something that you need to let go of, and you're carrying around the guilt of it and the shame, and there's a way to let that go that makes you feel more empowered and more like that it's okay to make mistakes, that you're more okay with yourself, more accepting of the things that you've done. And then there's also ways of letting other people be forgiven without having to send them a message like, hey, I've forgiven you, like, thanks so much. They don't ever know. They're never going to know that you've forgiven them. They might feel it energetically if they're spiritual and into energy, but the chances are they'll never know. They'll be sitting on the couch scratching their arse and you'll be like, hey, I've let it go. Good luck to you. I'm over here being a fine thing. And then there's ways to release your energy. I'm a bit of a twofer. Like I like the lazy approach to nearly everything. So I like to combine forgiveness and releasing energy as one little sort of process so that I don't have to go, okay, I've forgiven. And then like 3 days later, okay, I'm going to release my stuck energy. I'm like, get it done all in one time. Get it out. Like, wax on, wax off. It goes together. Get it out.
Amazing. Cool. Oh, well, I can't wait to learn how to do this because I think it's so valuable. And as you say, I mean, the more I have, because I create all the memberships content around the theme, the more that I have looked into forgiveness and created content around it, there's so many opportunities to forgive yourself. On the daily, for the thoughts we have, the way we treat ourselves, and I love how you said all forgiveness is self-forgiveness, because I think a lot of people hang on to things, don't they, thinking, well, they're going to suffer. But as you say, the people don't even know half the time that you're hanging on to this resentment of things,
The person that hurt you is no longer hurting you. Like when I think, I'll just, from my own experience, the man who cheated on me is no longer cheating on me. We're not together. I don't see him. We're not friends. I'm not sending him a Christmas card anytime soon. I'm sure he's not going to send me one either. But, if I keep going, well, I was cheated on and I'm so hurt and he's such a this and such a that, I'm the one hurting me. I'm the one beating myself up and putting myself back down. By just letting it go, by giving that forgiveness, he could send me a Christmas card and be like, oh yeah, I totally forgot about you. God, I hope you're well. You're kind of a different vibe to it. You're like, gosh, I really do hope you're well. I hope things are working out for you. And then you kind of can just move on. It's not like you're getting, well, he just did what now? You know, you're not getting caught
Yeah.
up in the drama.
I love that transformation of energy. When that occurs, you know that true forgiveness has taken place, and it's mind blowing. I do a lot of loving kindness meditation with clients in and around forgiveness as well.
Well, I do a forgiveness meditation in the morning, every morning, as part of my routine. And for anyone who's listening, like Susie said, there are things that you can forgive yourself for every single day. There's also things you can forgive other people for, like the person who blew the horn at me a couple of days ago because I couldn't parallel park. I have to send some forgiveness there. But there's always little things that come up that you can give forgiveness to. And if you are into meditation, a very simple thing is to just create a vision of a stage. I like to, which is the most common way of doing it, but I like to have a coffee table where somebody can sit on the sofa opposite me and just have a little conversation about what it is that I want to forgive them for. They don't have to say sorry. I don't need them to. I'm just saying, I don't like that you did that and I'm not okay with it. And I'm just going to push this black ball back to you. That's yours. You hold on to it. I've let it go. And then just allow them to get out with the black ball, which is all that negative emotion, that negative charge that you've put into it, and let them sod off somewhere else. And that's just a nice way of sort of starting the process of forgiving. Start small. Forgiveness, people go in with forgiveness ideas like, I'm going to forgive my parent for abandoning me or for neglecting me, or they go in with the trauma of past relationships. And I'm like, nope. Start small. Start really small. Something that's easy to forgive, like the person who blew the horn at me. Very easy to forgive someone who blew the horn at you because you don't know them. You're not really attached to them. Very easy to let that go. Much harder. The more closer it is to home and to the heart, the harder it is. But it is possible. It's possible to forgive nearly anything.
Yeah. It is. It's incredible. Without going too deep, but I was writing the meditation class for the membership about forgiveness, and I was thinking that people forgive people that have murdered family members, and there's some. It shows you the human capacity to forgive is colossal. Yet some people, as you say, would hang on to that person honking the horn, like, how dare they do that to me? And you're like, oh my goodness, so yeah, I think it's a really important thing for us to learn, so that we aren't carrying all these little mini resentments and hurts, so that if something bigger does happen, we're in a position to deal with it.
And I think it's so important for us to learn, but it's so important for us to start to show that we do it to our children, like, that we're showing them what forgiveness is, what forgiveness looks like, and like talking them through it. Because I mean, a lot of people grow up and they never learn how to forgive, or how to let go, or how to just not be attached to every little drama. I think the more that we talk about it and show it and demonstrate it for our kids, in my case, my nieces, the more they'll pick up on it and learn those tools and techniques themselves. And that's creating a nicer culture going forward for everyone.
Incredible. Yeah, that's definitely got me food for thought. It's something I am quite conscious of, but the more that I'm saying sorry element of it, but as opposed to the processing of forgiveness, I think that's something I could do a bit more as a parent for sure, and have a look into that. So you mentioned obviously in the morning you do your forgiveness meditation. What other kind of things do you use to support your own physical, mental health?
Oh, sorry, it dropped there for a second.
Yeah, I was just saying, so in the morning you like doing your forgiveness meditation. What other things do you like to do to support your physical and mental health?
This is a really long conversation. Will I go all no, I'm kidding.
Yeah, I totally get that.
No,
I think we spoke about that before, didn't we? Not on this, but
I do loads and loads and loads of things. So my meditation in the morning is about a half an hour long. And that's because it's an active meditation. And like I said earlier, not everyone can sit there in silence and listen to the breath and have an empty head. So I have a whole little process that I love that includes, some breath work, gratitude, forgiveness, and then visualization. So I find the most powerful thing that I can do for myself is to go in on the breath work. And if I only do breath work, forgiveness, and visualization in the morning, I'm okay, because I know I'm starting with a clean slate.
Yeah.
It's like there's a book called Money Is Not the Problem, You Are. When you go in and you have that forgiveness in the morning and the gratitude and the visualization, you're destroying the version of you from yesterday that had the problems, and you're creating a new version of you who's clean and clear and has no tethers to the past, and it's giving you that opportunity to just instantly move forward. I'm big into the gym, so I guess from a mental health perspective, I'm big into gym and yoga. I love that dopamine. As much as I believe in all of the energy work I do, I'm like, I'm also going to bring some science into it and make sure the dopamines and serotonins cruising through my body. So
Yeah.
I'm big into my workouts and everything else, but they're the most important things. They're the things that I'm eating right, obviously, but they're the most important things. Having really good habits, having really good mental health habits, physical habits, they're the things that build you up, that keep building you up long after any sort of drama or trauma has happened. So I'm a stickler for habits, to be honest, but yeah.
Absolutely. I'm a habit stacker, hence the length of time taking longer and longer each day to I was up at 5:15 today because I was teaching meditation at 10 to 7. I'm like, I will get all my little habits in there because it makes you feel so good.
Makes you feel like you've achieved something really for yourself. It's not even about other people, it's just doing it for yourself. Like, yeah, I'm like you. I have my habit stack. I'm like, oh, and I love reading. So I'm constantly like, what else could I add into my morning habits?
Yeah.
Where else can I squeeze something else in? And I also think if you're someone with an animal or pet, an animal, if you've got a pet, spend an extra couple of minutes just hugging your pet if they'll allow you. Like, I have cuddle puddles with my cat and my dog, and I'm like, this is really good. And other people do the same thing with my cat and dog. They'll just sit down and they'll be like, I really needed to talk. And they'll kind of be like, on it, cuddle puddle time in. And then you'll find that it's like a little bit more soothing. And also think a habit of self-soothing is really important too. Like, do you do self-soothing habits?
Yeah, I just shared a reel actually. It didn't mention the word self-soothing, but just so having your hand on your heart and breathing and just connecting in words and that kind of way. But yeah,
they're so important. Or like getting the heaviest blanket you can find and wrapping yourself in it and like keeping the hands around yourself and going, all right, we're going to work our way through this. Let's just suit up a little minute. Make some okay to be upset. It's okay to let things go to shit and come back. It's fine. We've all been there. Forgive yourself for it.
Yeah, absolutely. On my podcast, because it's called Be Free, I like to ask everybody, what makes you feel free?
Oh, that's like a really good question. What makes me feel like do you know what makes me feel free? And I don't know if this is relevant or not. Being able to go and do things at my own time, like 12 o'clock today, I decided to go out with Molly, the dog, and we just walked the bog, which is like a big open space. And you're just looking at all of this expansiveness around you. And you're like, life is like, I do feel that big sense of, I'm so expansive, everything's expansive. And I guess that's what freedom feels like for me, is that expansiveness. But having the ability to pick and choose when and what I'm doing and how I'm going to do it, I think that's freedom for me and how I like to be free.
Yay. Yeah, I love I totally hear you there. That sense of expansiveness is what is similar to what freedom is for me. And I love a day when I don't have any timings in my diary either. I'm like, oh, it's like such a relief that I don't have, these things to stick to. And you've got that sense of spaciousness and freedom as well. Oh, thank you so much. So the membership is open just now until the end of January. Should anybody want to come and join us and get in now so that you can experience Christina's masterclass live. And yeah, if anybody else wants to connect with you, or what do you have on at the moment, Christina, that people can, connect with you or work with you with?
The easiest place to find me is Instagram. It's Christina Rose Coaching. Christina is spelled the same as Christina. Don't judge me for the pronunciation.
Yeah.
But if you have
I think she's just super fancy.
I'm so snazzy, eyes. Christina Rose Coaching on Instagram. Come on over. What have I got on at the moment? If you head over to my bio, you'll be able to get 20 self-love journal prompts. And I know we said self-love was like something that you need. We all need it. And you might have that sense of resistance around it. What you resist persists. So you might as well jump on in and start journaling about yourself. There are questions in there about forgiveness and what you need to let go of and what is holding you back. So a lot of the questions are going to bring up something that might bring a tear to your eye and make you kind of go in and start removing those boxes. Like we said, start clearing out the house. And of course, you can always jump on an empowerment session with me, which I would love to see you on.
Amazing. Well, yeah, I'm a huge advocate of journaling as well. So yeah, I hope that people go and grab those journal prompts and connect with you. And I know that you share lots of awesome content as well over on Instagram. And yeah, any questions, please do reach out to either of us. I will pop all of Christina's links underneath the YouTube, the IGTV, and within the membership. So wherever you are, you can connect with either of us.
Come find me.
Yeah, totally. See, she's not scary. She's lovely.
Right now.
Brilliant. Well, I look forward to experiencing your masterclass next month. And yeah, and just anything else you want to add? I
cannot wait for the masterclass. I'm so excited. If you're coming to the masterclass, bring a journal and a pen and a box of tissues and some chocolate and a cup of tea. The essentials for it. But yeah, I'm really excited, and I'm so excited to be part of your community. So I'm just delighted. Thank you so much, Susie.
Oh, ace. Brilliant. Well, yeah, I cannot wait to connect with you then. And until then, I will see you soon, my love.
See you soon. Bye. Thank you, everyone. Bye.